So, Donald, you mentioned earlier that you studied French. How was your experience learning a foreign language?
Oh, Kim, it was quite an adventure. But let me tell you about something even more embarrassing. Even though English is my native language, I once had a terrible experience speaking English in another country.
Really? What happened? Now I am curious.
Well, 3 years ago, I traveled to London for a business conference. I thought, great, everyone speaks English there. This will be easy.
That sounds reasonable. London should be easy for an American, right?
That is what I thought. But on my first day, I went to a restaurant for breakfast. I was very hungry, so I said to the waiter, "Good morning, I would like some pancakes with syrup, please."
That sounds perfectly normal to me. What went wrong?
Wait, there is more. The waiter looked at me strangely and asked, "Would you like a serviette with that, sir?"
A serviette? Oh, you must have been so confused.
I had no idea what a serviette was. In America, we say napkin. So I just stared at him for a moment, completely confused. Then I said, yes, please? I was not even sure what I was agreeing to.
So what did he bring you?
He brought me a napkin. I felt so foolish, but that was not the worst part. When my pancakes arrived, I asked for chips because I wanted French fries on the side.
Oh no, Donald, please tell me you did not.
I did. In British English, chips are French fries, but I forgot that. The waiter brought me a bag of potato chips with my breakfast pancakes.
Stop it, no way! Potato chips with pancakes?
Yes, and everyone at the nearby tables started looking at me and laughing quietly. I was so embarrassed. My face turned completely red.
What did you do? Did you send them back?
No, I ate them anyway because I didn't want to seem rude or cause more trouble. Pancakes and potato chips together? Not a good combination, by the way. I can still remember that strange taste.
That is hilarious, Donald. I can picture your face when you saw those potato chips arrive.
I probably looked like I had seen a ghost. But enough about me. Now it's your turn, Kim. You said earlier that they laughed when you spoke English. What is your story?
Oh my goodness, my story is even worse than yours. I am almost embarrassed to tell you.
Come on, you have to tell me now. I shared my embarrassing story, so it is only fair.
Okay. When I was in university, I studied abroad in Spain for 1 semester. My Spanish was intermediate level, but I also wanted to practice my English with other international students.
That sounds like a great opportunity for language practice.
Yes, it was. There was a group of students from different countries: Brazil, Germany, France, Italy, and England. We all spoke English together because it was our common language.
So you had people from all over the world. That must have been interesting.
It was wonderful, but I made some terrible mistakes with my English. One evening, we decided to have a dinner party. Everyone brought food from their country. I decided to make a traditional American dessert, apple pie.
Apple pie is delicious. Everyone loves apple pie. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing went wrong with the pie itself. The problem was my English. When I arrived at the party carrying my pie, I wanted to say, "I am excited to share this pie with everyone." But instead I said, "I am excited I made this pie with everyone."
Wait, I made this pie with everyone? Oh, Kim.
Exactly. All my friends looked at each other very confused. One German student said, "Kim, we did not help you make the pie. We have been here all afternoon playing cards." I was so confused about why they were confused.
So what happened next?
Then my British friend Sarah explained the difference to me. She said, "Kim, you made the pie for everyone, not with everyone. With means we helped you, but for means you made it as a gift for us."
Oh no, that must have been so embarrassing.
I wanted to crawl under the table and hide. I said, "Oh no, I meant for everyone. I made it for you, not with you." Everyone started laughing, but in a kind way.
At least they were nice about it. English prepositions are so tricky, even for native speakers sometimes.
That is true. But my worst moment happened 2 weeks later. I still cringe when I think about it.
Oh no, there's more? Please tell me. I need to hear this.
Okay, so we all went to a nice restaurant to celebrate the end of the semester. It was a fancy place with white tablecloths and everything.
Sounds elegant.
It was. The waiter came to take our order. I looked at the menu and I wanted to order chicken. But suddenly, I could not remember the word chicken. My mind just went completely blank.
Oh no, what did you do?
I panicked. So I tried to describe it instead. I looked at the waiter and said very seriously, Excuse me, I would like to eat the animal that says cluck cluck and gives us eggs.
No, Kim, you did not say that. Please tell me you were joking.
I wish I was joking, but yes, I really said the animal that says cluck cluck. Everyone at the table, all 7 of my friends, started laughing so hard. Some of them were crying from laughing.
I am trying so hard not to laugh right now, but that is absolutely brilliant. The animal that says cluck cluck. That is the best thing I've heard all week.
The poor waiter was very professional, but I could see his shoulders shaking. He was trying so hard not to laugh. He said very politely, "Ah, yes, madam, you would like the chicken. Excellent choice."
You are making me laugh so much. My stomach hurts. How did you feel at that moment?
I wanted to disappear. My face was as red as a tomato. I just nodded and said, "Yes, chicken. That is the word. Chicken. Thank you." I could barely look at anyone.
But Kim, honestly, that is such a creative solution to your problem. At least everyone understood what you meant.
That is true. And you know what? Everyone was actually very kind about it. They told me their own embarrassing language stories to make me feel better. That helped a lot.
Really? What kind of stories did they share?
Oh, they were hilarious. My French friend Pierre told us about when he was learning English in London. He wanted to ask someone, "Where is the library?" But he accidentally said, "Where is the lavatory?" instead.
Library and lavatory, they do sound similar. What happened?
The person gave him directions to the bathroom. Pierre followed the directions carefully, and when he arrived at the bathroom, he just stood there for 5 minutes, completely confused, looking around and wondering where all the books were.
That is fantastic. Did he ever find the library?
Eventually, but he was so embarrassed. He said he double-checked every word after that experience.
These stories make me feel so much better about my pancakes and potato chips. I have another story too, if you want to hear it.
Of course, please tell me. I love these stories.
Okay, so last year, I was at an international engineering conference in Singapore. I was giving a presentation about bridge design to about 200 people.
200 people? That is a big audience. Were you nervous?
I was nervous, but everything was going perfectly at first. I was speaking clearly, my slides looked professional, and people seemed very interested. I felt confident.
So what went wrong?
I was talking about a specific bridge project. I wanted to say, "This bridge is very long, it is 30 meters." But instead, I said, "This bridge is very long, it is 30 minutes."
30 minutes? Oh, Donald.
The entire audience, 200 engineers, started laughing. I did not understand why at first. Then one man in the front row raised his hand and asked, "Excuse me, Mr. Peterson, do you mean it takes 30 minutes to cross the bridge? Or is the bridge actually 30 minutes long? Because that would be a very unusual unit of measurement for a bridge."
What did you say? How did you recover?
I felt my face getting hot, and then I realized my mistake. I laughed and said, "I am so sorry. I meant 30 meters, not minutes. This bridge does not exist in a time dimension, at least not yet. Maybe that will be my next project."
That is perfect. You made a joke about it.
Everyone laughed even harder, but in a good way this time. After the presentation, several people came to talk to me, and they all mentioned my 30-minute bridge joke. One person even said, "That was the most memorable presentation today because of your humor."
See, sometimes our mistakes actually help us. People remember you because you were human and funny, not because you were perfect and boring.
You are absolutely right, Kim. I learned that it is okay to make mistakes. In fact, everyone makes them, especially when they are nervous or speaking in a second language.
Exactly. When people laughed at my cluck cluck chicken story, they were not being mean. They were just enjoying a funny moment. And honestly, we became closer friends because of it.
That is such a good point. Those mistakes helped you connect with people. Even now, when I see colleagues from that Singapore conference, they still joke about my time-traveling bridge.
Do your friends from Spain still remember your chicken story? Oh yes, my friends still send me chicken emojis sometimes on social media. At first, I was embarrassed every time, but now I think it is hilarious. It's like our inside joke.
That is wonderful. You know, I think there is another important lesson here about American English versus British English. They are both English, but they can be so different.
Oh, absolutely. I have a funny story about that too. When I first moved to the city 5 years ago, I was looking for an apartment. I called a landlord about a rental property.
Let me guess. More confusion?
Yes, the landlord had a British accent, and he asked me, "Are you interested in the flat on the second floor?"
Okay, so what was confusing about that?
Well, I thought flat meant the apartment was horizontal or something. I said, wait, is the apartment flat? Like, is it not on a slope? All apartments are flat, right? I was so confused.
Oh, Kim, you did not know that flat means apartment in British English.
No, I had no idea. I had been studying English for years and I didn't know this simple word. The landlord was very patient. He explained, no, miss, flat is what we call an apartment here. It is not about the shape.
I understand completely. I once told a British colleague I needed to put gas in my car. He looked very worried and said, gas? That is dangerous. You should not put gas in your car. You mean petrol, right?
Yes, gas and petrol, elevator and lift, truck and lorry, the list goes on and on.
And don't forget cookie and biscuit. Though I must say, British biscuits and American cookies are actually quite different things.
That is so true. I learned this the hard way too. I once asked my British colleague, Sarah, if she wanted to share some biscuits for breakfast. I gave her what Americans call biscuits. You know, the bread-like things we eat with butter and sometimes gravy.
Oh no, she was probably expecting something sweet like a cookie.
Exactly. She took one bite and made a terrible face. She looked at me and said, Kim, why is this biscuit so savory? It tastes like bread. Where's the chocolate? I was so confused.
What did you do?
I said, what do you mean? Biscuits are supposed to taste like this. Then we spent 10 minutes showing each other pictures on our phones, trying to figure out what we were talking about. Finally, we realized we were talking about completely different foods.
These cultural differences in English are so fascinating. It's the same language, but sometimes it feels like two different languages.
I know, it can be so confusing. But you know what, Donald? I think all these mistakes and funny moments have taught me something important. What is that? Do not be afraid to make mistakes when you speak English, or any language. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. And honestly, the mistakes make better stories than the times when everything goes perfectly.
I completely agree. And I would add that people appreciate when you have a good sense of humor about your mistakes. If you can laugh at yourself, other people will laugh with you, not at you.
That is such an important distinction, laughing with someone versus at someone. When my friends laughed at my chicken story, they were laughing with me, sharing the funny moment together.
Exactly. And you know what else helps? Watching movies and TV shows in English. That really helped me understand different accents and expressions.
Oh yes, I watched so many American TV shows when I was learning English. Friends was my favorite because they spoke clearly and used everyday language.
Friends is excellent for learning English. I also recommend listening to podcasts. You can listen while you are driving or exercising, and it helps train your ear.
Great advice. I would also tell people to read as much as they can. Books, newspapers, websites, social media, everything helps build your vocabulary.
And here's another important tip. Find a language partner or join a conversation group. Speaking regularly is the best way to improve and gain confidence.
Absolutely. Speaking is so important. You cannot learn to swim by reading about swimming. You have to get in the water. The same is true for language learning.
That is a perfect analogy, Kim. And one more thing I always tell people, do not worry about having a perfect accent. Your accent is part of your identity and your story.
Yes, as long as people can understand you clearly, that is what matters. I work with people from all over the world, and we all have different accents. But we communicate effectively because we focus on clarity, not perfection.
Well said. You know, Kim, I have to say, I am really glad we had this conversation today. Sharing these funny stories has made me feel so much better about my own mistakes.
Me too, Donald. It is nice to know I am not the only one who has made embarrassing mistakes. We are all learning and growing, no matter how long we have been speaking English.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think our mistakes make us more interesting people. Perfect people are boring.
That is true. Nobody wants to hear a story about the time everything went perfectly. We want to hear about the time someone ordered potato chips with their pancakes.
Or the time someone asked for the animal that says cluck cluck.
Stop! You are going to make me laugh so hard that I spill my coffee.
Okay, I'll stop teasing you about the chicken. But seriously, thank you for sharing your stories with me today. This has been such a fun conversation.
Thank you too, Donald. I have laughed more today than I have in weeks. We should do this again sometime. Maybe we can share more embarrassing stories.
I would love that. I have plenty more stories where those came from. Shall we order more coffee and maybe some dessert? I promise I won't order anything that comes with potato chips.
That sounds perfect. And I promise I will use the proper English words and not describe my food as farm animals.
Deal. You know, Kim, I think we have learned something important today. Making mistakes when speaking English or any language is not the end of the world. In fact, sometimes those mistakes lead to the best memories and the best friendships.
That is beautiful, Donald. I could not agree more. Here's to making mistakes, learning from them, and laughing about them.
Cheers to that.